Chris Eubank Jr. posted this video on his Instagram, and he's seemingly in the hospital and he's strapped up with a whole bunch of medical devices, and it looks pretty bad. And this is what Chris Eubank Jr. posted as a statement on his Instagram. He said, "I've been dealing with a lot of health issues over the last year, and it all finally caught up to me last month. I will not box again until I am back 100%. For the fans that have supported me throughout thick and thin, I'll do everything in my power to make sure that one day the old me makes a big comeback." So look, that was the statement of Chris Eubank Jr. And as I said, that video does not look good. So first of all, I just want to say, I wish Chris Eubank Jr. all the best. I wish him speedy recovery. It doesn't look good, and these are serious times, and boxing is a serious sport. And I think sometimes people don't really look at boxers that way. These are real human beings, real human lives in the ring for our entertainment, and sometimes we have to open our eyes to a lot of things that happen when it comes to health issues and so forth. Now, over the past 2 years, since the first fight was cancelled and Chris Eubank Sr. made it clear that he wasn't happy with this fight taking place, I made a number of videos where every time that Chris Eubank Sr. came out to talk about the fact that his son's health is in danger, I've always agreed with him, and I've sort of echoed a lot of the things that he said in those videos. And I guess it is clear to see that Chris Eubank Sr. has always been right. He was never wrong. The things that he said, the fact that he didn't want to support his son in taking any of the Conor Benn fight, he was right. Us as fans, we don't really know what goes on behind closed doors. We just see what we see. And so we sort of attached ourselves, or we react to that without not knowing what is going on behind closed doors. And I guess Chris Eubank Sr. knows his son. He knows what sort of health conditions he's going through, and therefore knew that it was a dangerous thing for him to cut weight, to be under a rehydration clause, and also, to make 160 when he's 34, which his body is not able to do those things that he used to do a few years ago. So look, now fast forward after the second fight, we can see Chris having effects of maybe the weight cut, maybe making 160 when he can't do it anymore. And it is clear that his father was right. And, I made a video just recently talking about the fact that Simon Jordan, was sort of asking Chris Eubank Sr. a lot of questions when he was on TalkSport, and he basically did not agree with Chris Eubank Sr.'s rhetoric to the fact that his son should not take this fight. And, it is clear Eubank Sr. was right. And, it doesn't look good for Chris Eubank Jr. to be in the hospital, to be in the state which he is. It was clear that Chris Eubank Jr. was not the same fighter in the second fight. That was clear, because if you've watched Chris Eubank Jr. for any length of time, you would know that he's very energetic, he throws a lot of punches, and he's very busy in fights. In the second fight, when Chris Eubank Jr. went on a back foot for the whole first round, I looked at that and I thought something was wrong, because that was a totally opposite of the fighter that was in the ring in the first fight. So it was very clear that something was wrong, something seriously was wrong with Chris Eubank Jr. And he said it post-fight press conference that, he was going through some issues and he wasn't going to really go into deep details about it. So look, there was seriously something wrong there. And, I don't think Conor Benn is going to feel any way about it, because he won the fight fair and square. And some would argue that Eubank Jr. should never have been in a ring if it was that serious of an issue. But then what people forget is that there was a contract that was signed. Chris Eubank Jr. was bound legally to have the rematch within a certain period. Otherwise, he would be sued and he would be fined a lot of money. So I guess he got into that rematch because, he prevented from being sued and being fined a lot more money than he was fined the first time. So look, it is all true. Chris Eubank Sr. was right all along. He knew what he was saying. And hopefully this is something that Chris can overcome, because nobody wants to see another boxer in a situation like this. So wishing him all the best. You guys let me know what you think about this. Does this change your perspective on the second fight? Do you think that Chris is going to come back and maybe suggest that he wants to have a trilogy because he wasn't right during the second fight? Would you be interested in a trilogy if Chris, in his statement, said that he was going to come back? If he comes back, would you be interested in a supposedly trilogy if Chris wanted to do that? Get in the comment section. Let me know what you think about it. But look, as I said, good luck with Chris. Wish him speedy recovery, and hopefully everything goes well for him.